so much to
Yeah,
set, go.
true.
Well, we're pretty set, but we'll start. Okay, cool. You all right with this? I didn't really touch anything.
Great.
You're good? All right, cool. Hey, everybody.
Morning.
So I'm Michael Schweisheimer.
I'm Collin Leahy.
We work together at a place called PWP Video, which is based in Germantown and Philadelphia. And so we have our, we're going to do, we have an hour, right, Dave? That's the update. So we're going to spend an hour and try to get as deep as we can on techniques with camera, lighting, and we'll touch on audio as well, because I know that's really important. Collin, I know that all of you guys use different equipment, and what we've brought here today is a lot of ways to demonstrate how to do a lot of things really inexpensively. Leaving the camera is kind of a wild card. So whatever camera you have is great. But the big thing on the top of this page, you want to talk about this, Collin, for a second?
Yeah, like one of the big things I learned when I was starting out was like, basically if you don't have a good story, the rest of it doesn't matter. So that's why we brought basic stuff, just to show you like low budget, you can do it on anything basically, like any camera. And no matter what, as long as you have a good story, it's going to turn out good.
And that is the biggest thing. But then once you do get into tech, which I know is a really easy place to get lost, there's a couple tricks. One of my favorite ones from film school is this first thing, this FAST acronym. So this applied, it's actually interesting, this didn't apply again until recently because it was from film cameras. So it's focus, aperture, shutter, and time. And for a long time we didn't really have an option in shutter with video cameras because it was always a 30th of a second. So do you guys understand what shutter speeds are at this point? Yeah, everyone has to deal with that. I see a Nikon sitting out there. Is that what you shoot with? Okay, cool. So
I usually shoot DSLR stuff. So like I know this stuff a little bit more than usual, but like video camera stuff is what I grew up with. So like I understand the whole tape side of things, and like it's kind of a pain in the butt having to like relearn it, but I guess you guys are okay at this point, so.
So I think what we can do is we can do a bunch of demonstration while we go. Do we want to put someone in the chair for camera angles?
Want to jump up here?
Or come on up.
Can you take my stuff? I'm in a bit of a pickle.
What's your name?
MG?
MG?
Yeah, like Michael Jackson, but better.
Cool.
Just in the chair.
Yeah, sit in the chair. All right. So we're going to start out with camera, and clearly we're not really here yet. So, Collin, you want to mix camera and lighting at the same time?
Go for it.
Let's plug that in. Let's get us a key source so I can focus. So, I mean, clearly, you guys know that focus is kind of important. This is sort of annoying. If this was going to be your close-up shot, you'd kind of be bummed when you got into editing. Now, it's really easy with focus. One of the things you want to, do you guys know this trick? Most of your lenses will hold if you zoom in and grab focus and then zoom back out. Now, it's really easy with someone to focus, say you're looking at someone's mouth, or let's even try her hair. So now her hair's in focus, but do you see here how close I am? Do you see how her eyes are just the tiniest bit? Well, you're barely seeing, are you? Hold on. See how this is really looking kind of fuzzy up there? This is an HD camera. It has to go through SD. Can you see that at all? Yeah. Can you turn off the room lights? That's what's bleeding everything out. Is that better? Because I'm at a weird angle. It's hard for us to tell. So basically on focus, I just wanted to get to you guys the idea that you always want to focus on somebody's eyes, okay? So that way when you pull out, what you're focused on is the emotion in her face. So Collin, let's start actually lighting with the key. I think we want to walk this key forward. So you guys see here how when she's looking towards camera, all those shadows from her hair, you can't really see much but the side of her nose. So we can start shaping with our key light just by walking it around. So that's a 3/4 key. So how much was this thing, do you think? It's about
$200?
$200, $300?
No, yeah, something like that. No, the actual China ball was probably $5, $10 at IKEA.
We did put a 200-watt light bulb in there, so that might be another $5. So that gets it kind of bright. But so this is at most a $15 light fixture.
And what's actually pretty nice about China balls is, like, sometimes you'll see lighting fixtures in movies where they put like that huge thing on the front of it, and that like dims it down and makes it softer. This automatically does it for you, because if we take that off and just show you the light bulb, it's going to be super bright. It's going to be super hard. You're going to get crazy shadows back here, and it's going to.
Let's do it.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna. Let's just try a bare light bulb and see what that looks like.
Right at it.
Yeah, watch your eyes. MJ?
MG.
MG. All right, that's what I thought you said, but you said Michael Jackson.
No, better.
Oh, it is better. It's a J. So you see how everything's kind of shiny and harsh? See how harsh the shadow is from her nose in particular? See that hard line? So that's a hard light source instead of do you guys familiar with hard and soft light sources? You are? Have you played with it to see how different it is? So here's our $8 investment at IKEA or whatever it was. Oh, this is hot. By the way, 200 watts is way overrated for this cord, so you have to stick with it. You don't want to leave this plugged in and run away. But you guys see the massive difference? Look at how that nose shadow now softens up and looks a lot better. That's a lot more flattering. What do you think? Rim light?
Yeah.
See how, let's A/B that and show them how she kind of disappears. See how she's blending into the background here? So this is a rim light or an edge light. And now she separates more. I think we want to put a little more on top of head too. I think this lamp, this might have been $10 at IKEA as well. We took an IKEA trip just to show you guys what you can do. This is a paint stick from the hardware store.
A piece of foam core, or like basically any kind of. You go to Staples, you can get it for like $5. And these little clips too. You know, you can buy a 100-pack for probably like $5.
And then these things, these are called pony clamps. These are professional, like we use these on big film sets to hold stuff up all the time. They're just spring clamps. This size might be $2, Home Depot. So between IKEA and Home Depot, I think, Collin, you said we spent maybe
I don't know,
70.
maybe maximum of 70.
I think
Looking
we
closer to
spent
like
50.
if not less.
Yeah. So, and then you could have a full lighting package. So let's get back to some Joy's camera stuff.
I mean, like, obviously it's not the most amazing, you know, like, they're not going to shoot Spider-Man with this kind of stuff, obviously, but, like, you get the point across, and like we said at the beginning, like, it's just, the story's what matters. So, like, we're just trying to show you the basic stuff.
But there are DPs out there, directors of photography, that solely rely on China balls. It's their favorite. They'll light entire scenes with them.
There have been a couple movies that I've worked on, and actually, like, mostly commercials, that I've run out to IKEA or Staples or something and grabbed little things like this. Just because they're like, oh crap, we have to hurry up. What do we need? Okay, go get this. And I just run out and get it real quick. So, believe it or not, we actually do end up using this a lot.
Probably not that lamp over there.
Not the lamp, no. But
The China balls, yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about camera height and angle. So here we are. One of the things you guys probably may or may not know is normally you want to have your camera height for a normal shot right at about eye level. So MJ's a little shorter. We can level this thing out. This tripod does nice stuff. MJ. G? That's what I asked you. You said...
but it's better.
I said it's like Michael Jackson, but
Oh, he's got the J. That's my apologies. Hey, I got a lens flare. Look at that. We're flaring from the rim light. Not me. So we can use our bounce as a cheater. So anyway, here we are at a nice normal angle. I'm losing a lot of light between what I'm seeing and what you guys are seeing. So have you guys played with Dutch angles, low angles, high angles? Yeah? So if I do that now, it's going to bore the heck out of you? Is that what's happening? Have you guys played with Dutch? Yeah. Do you know what Dutch is? So Dutch angles, I'm not sure. I think they're called Dutch angles probably from Dutch painters, but I'm not sure. You never know in our business. So a Dutch angle is when you have the camera not level. So this is like the old Batman TV show.
Yeah,
But you see,
a more recent example I saw was in the Avengers. They do it a lot, like up on that ship.
but so now see how like tense that is with everything, with all the vertical lines being off axis and everything like that. So depending on what your scene is and what your story is, you could do a quick reaction shot or cutaway, or even a slightly wider shot at a Dutch angle, and it's going to make a really different comment on your story than if you're just level.
Do you
So,
know, like, why you would use a high angle shot? Yeah, go for it.
Somebody seems small.
Okay. How about a low angle?
Somebody seems tall.
Okay. Yeah, but like just it kind of like a low angle is going to make him seem more superior and like taller than the little guy, and like that's why that awkward thing with interviews. I don't know if you guys have had job interviews yet or anything like that, but like they always make you sit in the chair, and like sometimes they'll stand up, and then I don't know, it always freaks me out a little bit. Actually, I think you did that to me, Michael.
what did I do to you?
Like I sat in the chair and you were standing up, and I just felt like the little guy, and it's just it makes them seem bigger and like more powerful and scary. And I was like, then I stood up. So.
And luckily I'm short, so I don't remember doing that to you, Colin. I'm sorry. Well, what do you know? All right, now, how much have you guys talked about telephoto lenses versus wide angles and stuff like that? Do you understand some of the differences that that can make? Go ahead and tell me a little bit.
Telephoto tends to put everything on one kind of plane, so if you're not really trying to get a lot of depth, it kind of smushes everything to feel like it's flat and all right there in front of you.
Exactly. So, for instance, right now, the back of that wall is mostly in focus. A good way to show you, we'll stay with close-up. Okay. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. But you can do a close-up in wide. Well, that's what happens. So I still need to get focus, because clearly I'm out of focus. You ever see your eye that big?
No.
Well, there it is. Oh, that's vicious, guys. Let's try to play nice. So here we are in a close-up. We've got the background, everything's in focus. There's no separation. So a lot of ways in this composition, if there was more happening in that background, or if we lit it more, you really wouldn't necessarily, you would more than likely focus on her as a subject of a shot. We tend to go to people's eyes. But you're not forcing your composition there. Matter of fact, with her dead center, it's kind of like a Wes Anderson thing going on right now. Here's our Wes Anderson shot for the day. That's how Wes Anderson would film her close-up, I think. Except there'd be more symmetry in the screen.
Like what lens is that?
This is just a Panasonic AF100, so this is a kit lens that
Yeah, these ones don't have interchangeable lenses. Like most video cameras, that's usually what they are. If you want to go like a higher, I don't want to say higher grade, but essentially that's what it is. But like you'll get an interchangeable lens, and you can switch out and have all sorts of fancy stuff with what you were starting with, the FAST acronym. You get focus, aperture, shutter, and your timing.
So here's a close-up where we're relatively wide. And now we'll show you guys that sometimes when you want to show close, it's actually better to get as far from your subject as you can. Because now when I focus, you see how all the background is now out? And that's essentially the same framing. You see how the background is no longer in focus? Like, Colin, put your arm in there. I think that'll... Oh, you're pretty close to her. But see, yeah, he's soft. But I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that that's one of the things that you can do with telephoto in terms of, it's called the background, how much in focus you have it. The technical term that you read a lot in articles is bokeh, B-O-K-E-H, which is kind of a fancy way of saying stuff's out of focus. But it's what cinematographers like to refer to it as. And right now, it's very much in style. People are kind of obsessed with bokeh.
I think
So
it's more of, since DSLR has become such a huge video stream, basically, it's like that's why bokeh is becoming more relevant, because you can get more depth of field with DSLRs and their fancy lenses.
Or you can compress your depth of field,
Yeah.
actually. You can do either,
Yeah.
is really what it is. Depth of field, you guys are familiar with that term? You know what that means? Okay, I don't know, you know, it's impressive you guys know all these terms in high school. I didn't really know them. So, all right. Should we play with some lighting? So here's our close-up. So this is technically, I'm sure you guys have heard of three-point lighting. So right now we're using the China ball as key. You got either your backlight or rim light. And then we're using, for fill, we're using bounce. So you guys understand, so key, you know what that is? It seems like you guys have had the basics, which is awesome. Have you guys played around with doing single light stuff where you remove some of the other lights? No? Here, let's start. Shall I remove the key first, you think?
Sure.
So this is now one light, and all kinds of different things are happening. But,
Trying to keep it out of the camera.
well, here, yeah, we can do witness protection program.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. That's a nice anonymous shot. Another thing you guys can do for one light, if you ever want to go super soft, oh, I guess the thing will vibrate when we're up under 15 minutes. So this is like just using a bounce. See how that's even softer than that China ball was? I really like this kind of a look. And you can do other things where you move it closer. By the way, I'm using a chair as a stand here. Improvising is kind of key. Is that in the shot yet? Cool. Then no one knows it's there. But check that out. That's kind of cool, isn't it? And by tops. She's priceless. Oh, here, come on, it was there.
You gotta watch that black cord.
So one of the notes on there that is don't be afraid of the dark. And I think this is a pretty good example of why that's true. Because I think this is a really pretty shot. But all that background, you don't have to worry about it so much. It's just about MJ, right?
G.
Duh! See, the one person I know is named MG, and she was like swapping around on me. I'll never get it. So, anyhow, do you have anything to add about one light stuff like this? So, but then we can start playing with, when you start adding things in. Well, did we do a hard edge?
Yeah.
We did?
With the China ball.
Okay. So, but you guys can start to play with lots and lots of different things. Like now I'm sort of swapping just by moving that. Is this side of mine? Yeah. So I'm still keying with that bounce. Now I'm using this China ball as the fill. See how that's kind of doing odd things? I can even just dance it around this way. We can use this thing as the rim if we wanted to. But are you guys have you guys sat around and played with close-ups in this way and just played around with moving your light sources to see all the different moods you can create? Do you guys know what high contrast is versus low contrast? So this is a very high contrast shot. And we can easily make it low contrast very quickly. That's about as low contrast as we can get. We're pretty much 1-to-1, except when she looks down. Look up for 1 second. There we go. This you probably want to avoid. But that's kind of cool. But here, that's actually kind of neat. We've swapped the key again. So the idea is that within three-point lighting, there's this tremendous amount of flexibility. But using one light can be really a lot of fun. Collin, you want to talk about color temperature?
I was actually going to go on a different tangent towards
Do it.
what a practical is. Like, do you guys
Oh, yeah,
term-
please.
term practical? Okay. Do you know? Can you explain it then?
Like what exactly we used in the shot?
Yeah. Okay. Like, so basically, you would see this like back here somewhere. You'll see it in the shot.
Do you want me to widen out a little bit?
Yeah, sure. do something like this and just throw it in the shot, but it's a regular household item, like for set dressing, if you will. Like you just have a lamp in the shot. It's like, okay, why not use the lamp and have it highlight something in the shot? So if you, I don't know, it's just, you want me in the shot for some reason. I don't know why, but like you just use something that is actually in the shot to help highlight the room instead of just having it turned off. Use it somehow. You can benefit from it.
But the other thing that you guys can do, another way to use practicals, is, where'd it go? There it is. So now I can see the lights right in the shot. There, boom, there it is. But now what's going on up here that's kind of weird is you see the light, but there's actually no light on her that's motivated by that lamp. So try to be lazy. Can't be that lazy. So now we have a light source much closer to where she is that's motivated by the lamp that you're seeing in the shot. Now right now it's a really dark shot, but again it's very moody, but at least it makes sense. So to show you how much we're supplementing. Okay, so
you kind of cheat it. Like, you guys will obviously know it's there, but nobody else will see it. And they'll just be like, wow, that's really good lighting for that little lamp in the background. Or just like, even if they're paying attention to that, if they're not paying attention to it, they'll just be like, okay, like this shot makes sense. Basically, if you're watching a movie and you don't notice anything, the person that did their job did it like phenomenally. So like if you don't notice any crazy lighting sources, great. If you start noticing something that looks a little off, they probably should have taken longer to figure it out.
because right now, going back to where we were before, the idea of having the key not in the shot, but having the key completely unmotivated by the lamp that you're seeing, that's just weird. Like, why is there a bright light source over here, but she's entirely in shadow on that side? So that, you might notice that as being a little bit dissonant in terms of what you would expect. Make sense? So, and then the other, oh, here. Should we just do one lighting gag just for fun?
Sure.
All right. Then there's other fun stuff you get to do with practicals, like lighting gags. Don't worry, I'm not going to hit you hard. It's very light. You'll be just fine. I can see that stand quite a bit. Thanks, Collin, for pointing out how bad that joke was. All right. So let's do an on-off gag. I think, is it switched in there? So a lot of times if you have an actor in a, like if you've got someone walking into a room turning on the light, you actually need a whole crew of people. We were off a little bit. So, hang on. Let me find where the plug is. There it is. All right. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're clicking on 3.
Yeah,
I thought it was, all right.
3.
Well, you didn't tell me it was on
1, 2, 3. There you go.
There we go. But that's one of the things that you guys can do is you can have an entire setup of lights and then flick a switch. You can also have changes. Like, it would not be uncommon to have that off, and maybe there's some other light source that you don't know about in the room that's dimmer. And then when you turn that on, you might turn on another bank of lights to go with it.
Yeah.
Is that like when they're in like a bedroom or something when they flick on that desk light and then the whole room lights up?
Yeah. There's some poor guy in the grip department sitting there watching that actor waiting, and then the actor hopefully doesn't like stutter, because that ruins a lot of takes.
Yeah, especially when they're shooting on film. It's just like, well, there goes $1,000. So they have to start over. But, you know, DSLR.
You spent more time on movie sets than I have, Collin. It's true. I haven't been in as many movies.
Same thing with like fireplaces. You'll see different shots with fireplaces, and you'll see like the light flickering from it.
You're right, MG.
Wow, that is a really bright fire. Yeah, it's not a fire. It's just some poor guy in the back who's got a light switch and he's just going like this. Up and down. Yeah.
Same with TV.
Yeah,
I've seen people use foil and gel for
Yeah.
fire too.
yeah.
It's all weird. So let's talk about, so we're talking about motivated sources. Another good motivated source is a window. But do you guys understand, have you talked about color temperature yet? Okay. So color temperature, well, let's see. So clearly you understand the basics of it. So if I switch, whoopsie. That's daylight interpreting tungsten light, so it looks really, really warm. We didn't bring any gel, did we?
Nope.
That's all right.
That's also kind of
What?
awkward to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
But-
guys know what gels are?
Yes.
Okay. They're just like light pieces of plastic that you can put in front of a light and change the color. But like you can get them at like party stores. But usually those are actually called party gels. And they usually are like really, really colorful. Like that would be a party gel on the exit sign. It's just like, it's red. Like if you want something to be red, you put that on it. But there are different temperatures of it where you can get like quarter, half, eighth, and they all do different things. So they're like just a little bit less of that color. So if you want pink, you know, you put on a light red with some orange or something like that, and it just, different things like that you can do.
But so if you guys have a window, you'll notice that all the light coming through it is going to be much more blue than your tungsten lighting. So if you're planning on mixing sources, sometimes it's nice to match. Sometimes you can actually be aware of the different color temperatures. So if we had an outdoor window shining somewhere, all that light would be blue. The other thing that we could do is if you had blue gels, is you can fake a window. I can't tell you how many sets I've been on where someone's like, hey, let's put a window over there. And literally they don't mean like, let's cut a hole in the wall. You start grabbing either a blue light, like an HMI, or you grab a tungsten light and you put blue gel on it. And maybe you grab some mini blinds and you shine that light through mini blinds. So like,
You can get some more of this foam core and just cut it so that you can get different shapes out of the light. Like you can make whatever you want out of these things. You can make a window if you want. Just cut like those little slats that are in the window to get the 4 frames. You could cut it into this and shoot through it, and you got a window.
and all you'd have to do is cast a shadow on that back wall. So, and blam, you've got a window. But you'd want to make it bluer, like this. Here we go. Let's mix. Thanks. Awesome. Should we kill the rim light for a second? So if we want in our nice tungsten shot, if we were, say there's, so here, there's probably, can you guys feel like there's a window somewhere with moonlight coming through? And that's it. It's just a blue light. All inside, moon.
We
So-
were actually on a shoot, like 2-3 weeks ago, where it was just starting to snow, and there was like a couple inches of snow on the ground.
I don't know how this works. Oh, okay, look at that.
And like,
It dims and everything.
we obviously, you know, you can't fake the snow outside, but so we just like tweaked the shot a little bit so you can't see it outside, and threw some gel on the window, and it looked like it was a normal sunny day. And you know, if you watch the video now, you're like, oh wow, it's probably 75 degrees, but no, it was like 20. And you know, I'm walking in and outside like this because it's hot inside and cold, hot inside, cold outside, and I'm just like, yeah.
It was really great. So our DP went nuts. And unfortunately, he's shooting in New York today, or he would be joining us as well. But he gelled the window to warm it. So we put up orange gel on the window. He played with bokeh. He threw everything out of focus. So interview subject was in focus. The background was way out. So even snow on trees looked like a sunny highlight on an out of focus tree. It didn't look like snow at all. It was really wild. And it seriously looked like Florida
Yeah.
in the middle of awful.
And we were just, I don't even remember, Orland, was it?
No, Wayne.
Wayne.
So, but yeah, so just don't forget that you guys can invent all kinds of stuff. The moon would be up high. A window would be probably right to the side. All right, so it's just as simple as that in terms of, people call it painting with light. So, and here all we have is technically 3 light sources, plus the bounce. Can I borrow this for a minute?
Absolutely.
Cool. Can I borrow this for the afternoon?
Sure.
Yay. Any questions right now on color temperature, lighting, camera, angle, focus? It's a lot of stuff. Do you guys see how this FAST acronym can help you to so every time you're about to hit record, if you run through that FAST, it really can save you. Because you can make sure you're in focus. You can think more deeply if you want to. Is what I want in focus in focus? Are there things in focus I don't want in focus? Aperture. Not only does that mean what is the aperture, but you guys know, like in terms of choosing that the depth of field, the wider the aperture, the smaller the depth of field, so less focus. So you guys can choose that. So do you follow what I'm saying? You look a little confused. No? You? Yeah. No? Anyone? Are you confused? No one's confused? You're confused.
Key and fill.
Absolutely. Do you want to know what the terms mean, or you want to see them in practice? I'm sorry?
See it and just explain it.
Guys, please don't be afraid to ask questions. That's what we're here for. Ask as many as you want. Don't feel like you're going to be dumb. That's what we want to do for you today. We want everybody to know stuff.
So, Collin, you want to go ahead with key and fill for a minute?
Set that up.
Like a key source would be obviously the one that's like the one that you're getting the main light from, the key. Like that's, so right now I would say that's about a key, like right up front, because that's the one that's going to be giving you the most light on her face. And the fill is going to be the one that's over on the side of it. So like the rim one is going to be from the back, which is right here, because it's giving her rim right around her head.
Do you want to do the one light thing to show rim real fast? Because it's the easiest way to check your rim light and where you're positioning it is to actually pull off the key to actually go one light. I'm not going to worry about a lens flare right now.
Okay.
We're working with an IKEA lamp.
There you go.
Sometimes a lot of people for rim, they'll really focus on shoulder separation. So, I mean, that's kind of extreme. But a lot of times a rim light ends up being kind of up over the top. You try to not point it right into the lens of the camera like
Because then you get lens
that.
flares and you can actually see the light, and it's
But that's a pretty classic rim light because it's separating the top, shoulders, and it keeps her from the background. So now you want to fire up the key.
Then when you get the key light, you can see everything a lot better.
Do you see that little streak in her hair that's going there? So that is classic. You can tell in a Hollywood movie, that's like a classic close-up thing when you see that little streak of light on someone's hair. That's how you know they're doing classic three-point Hollywood lighting. All right? It's a real easy giveaway. So here, Collin, you want me to use this for fill for you? What, am I blinding you? Is that?
I'm just choking.
Okay.
Yeah, choking on air.
So
Basically, like Michael was saying, though, you want to have the light a little higher up, because if you have it like directly behind them, you're not going to see very well. It's just, I wish we had a taller lamp, but it is.
I can hold it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
We could put it on a chair. It's not safe.
it's better when you have friends helping you. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome, Collin. You want to talk about fill for a second?
Yeah, fill lighting. Basically, we're using the board as the fill light for now, since we don't have a third light. But you can see as Michael's putting it in and out, it starts to fill the shot. It makes it like look more full with the lighting.
So, and then
Sometimes like the terms sound really technical and everything, but they really are just, if you don't think about it, that's what it is.
and let's just, I'm going to pull the bounce card to show
Yeah.
no fill at all. This is the problem with working with $4 equipment. Sometimes that happens. Anyway, you're fine. It's just one spring clip, I swear.
You can see that like there's a lot less light in here now because there's no fill. So all we have is the key right now.
So even if I open the aperture, well, that's pretty open. Even if I gain up, oh, it is up. Well, what do you know?
I was going to ask you, is the gain up for the shot?
Yeah, I mean, we could play I mean, we could clearly move our key in closer. Like here, if we wanted to shoot, so this is like a 2.8 on this lens. If we wanted to close down to like a 4, it's just going to be a matter of getting that light source in closer. So you guys understand that light falls off. It's logarithmic. Logarithm? Well, it is exponential, but I think it's also, yeah, good. I haven't done high school math in a long time. It's exponential. So every foot makes, you know, everything doubles. And so it happens very quickly as we swing that light in and out. Watch how fast it falls off. So anyway, for key and fill, do you see the difference here now with this having no fill at all? And then the weirdest thing, do I have anything dark? This is pretty dark. Your coat's pretty dark. I'm going to show you, I'm going to try and see if I can do, can we get the key closer, you think? Brighten that up a little bit.
Try not to get it in, but.
Okay. Can you look up for just a second? There you go. I can't do negative fill in this scenario because it's not 3/4.
I'm going to bring this around.
Yeah, let's try that. Can we blind you for a second? Cool. Thanks.
Where do you want it?
I don't know. Let's try a 3/4 key with it. I want to try negative fill, and I don't know if it's going to do anything here.
It's going to be hard to see, I think.
Up there it is.
Yeah.
Can we try more of a walk the key forward so it wraps a little bit more? Like, there you go. All right. Is that doing it? I really hate SD. Okay. So I'm going to try this. It's probably not going to work.
I'm going to try it without the triangle.
Sure. It's going to be really dark, though. So here we are with our bounce fill. So no fill at all. Falls off really dramatically. Bounce fill, which I can control really well. And then what I was trying to show you guys is if you take, you can get this foam core where it has a black side to it, but you can just use dark fabric. This coat might be too reflective. But if you put black fabric up, it'll actually suck the light and make that fill side even darker. So is that darker than, here, yes.
Yeah.
So you see that? So that's called negative fill, which I really like if you're really trying to go super dramatic. Thanks for the coat, Colin.
Yeah, sure. There's actually an old movie, Alien, where the DP did that. To make it more dark in there, for some reason, he was trying to get more light out of the blackboard. Yeah, it didn't make any sense, but somehow ended up making it darker and making it like more scary and everything. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Yeah, So don't forget, you can also play with filling from all kinds of different angles. So I can try to fill up into her eyes a little bit to reduce shadows. It depends on what light source you have. See that? And by the way, what I'm doing right now is called Hollywood. If you ask someone to Hollywood something for you, it literally means be a light stand, be a better light stand. So when you first get into the business, someone will make you Hollywood something for an hour. I've done it too. Yeah.
It hurts.
There was one in particular where we were doing a circle shot around the people, and I had to be on the opposite side, chasing the light up into them, avoiding the camera while keeping the light on the people.
You having fun, MG? All right, good.
Okay, I have a question. What happens if you put the light directly on the bounce instead of on the subject?
Oh, sure. So MG just asked a good question. You mind pulling the China ball for a second? So she was asking what happens if, instead of doing direct lighting, if we just bounce off the card. So here we're totally dark, clearly. That looks great.
Is that mass?
But if we start to just do indirect light, this is just only bounce. See how super soft that is? And then the other thing that you can do with this, so I've got the lamp really close to the foam core. Remember I talked about the, thank you, exponential fall off of light? So if I'm direct, you know, it's only from the distance from the lamp to her that we're looking at in terms of that fall off. But now I'm bouncing, which means that it's twice the distance. So just a little bit of movement is going to dim that light source really fast. See how quickly that moves with just a few inches of moving the board? But if I took this super high intensity, and the other thing is I can still bounce pretty direct. But I mean, I can't do a much softer wrap light than that. I mean, there's not a hard shadow happening. See how our nose shadow, see how soft that nose shadow is? And by the way, placing nose shadows is kind of a big deal. Because if you do it wrong, like here, if I light, I mean, that's kind of disappearing, but see it's going up towards her eye? That's just weird. Usually you want to see a nose shadow aiming down, and hopefully you don't want to see it really hard, because that's kind of cuts a line on the face. But if you do it with a soft source and aim it down, see how much more natural that looks? It looks more like what you're used to seeing in a room with somebody. There you go. Boom. Cool? So that's one light. Was that helpful? Yay. All right. Why don't we talk about audio? You want to be free? I don't blame you. It was only 30 minutes of sitting up here. You did great. Thank you very much. Can we have some applause for MG? All right. Should we turn on the room lights, Colin? We'll just talk about audio and then, well, I guess, or should we see if there's other questions about lighting? Let's talk about audio for just a minute. How much time do I have, Dave, before we're done?
Next one's 10:40, so you have about 15 minutes.
15? Cool. All right. So audio, see this bolded item? Get that microphone off the camera. Remember I was showing you, so I've been spending all my time with the camera.
Michael, I'm sorry, actually, no, they gave us 15 minutes to travel.
I got 5 minutes?
Till somebody comes and kicks you out, go.
Okay.
Get the mic off the camera. If I was just using the onboard and we had an emotional scene happen there with MG 12 feet from the camera, I'm not even going to hear her. You can, so do you guys all have access to different microphones? Yeah? All right. So, I mean, you've got your lavalier, you can get, right-ish. I mean, everyone's going to have access to different stuff. This is this really cheap thing. It's a Boundary mic from Radio Shack. It's so cheap that I forgot to bring a new battery, and it didn't even work when I tried to use it for the gentleman videotaping.
But it actually, like, it does get good sound out of it. Like, if you put it on this table, you can have two people have a conversation right here, and it'll be decent. Like, it'll be enough to get your point across.
It'll be better than having your microphone behind somebody.
Right.
Because that's the other thing is if we were doing a scene where we had someone sitting in front of MG and we're over the shoulder, I'm not going to hear the other actor at all from that microphone. So it's really important to think about proximity. So any mic you can get and get off the camera, you're probably going to do better. So, yeah, Dave made this note here, but you don't have to speak if you don't have. Don't speak if you don't have to.
Show, don't tell, basically.
Have you guys heard that phrase before? Yeah? It matters a lot because being a visual medium, anytime you can eliminate dialogue, do it. Anytime you can. And work to try to do it. And it makes your sound issues a lot easier. But you will, I'm sure, have some sound.
One of my favorite things to do is watch bad movies. And actually, more recently, I watched Sharknado. So, yeah, exactly. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be awesome because it's just awful. Because they tell, they don't show. They just like, I don't know, it's just...
Evil?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're like, it's a Sharknado, and then instead of showing a tornado of sharks, they're like talking about it, and you're just like, oh yeah, like at the very end. It's yeah, exactly. It's just like, what the heck? So, yeah, yeah.
I have an audio question. Say if you were like doing a documentary and you're interviewing people, but your mic was really, really bad, and you didn't pick up, like you picked up the audio, but it's not like really decent. Is there like any specific thing in Adobe that you could do to then kind of
post?
Yeah.
Okay. The hard thing with that, I mean, I've never been really an expert at that kind of thing. Post-production audio, you can obviously just like raise the levels. And one thing that I'm not sure if it's a no-no or not, I haven't heard anybody scold me about it, but like if you take it and just double it up and just keep doubling it up until it's loud enough. The downside with that is you're going to get a lot of background noise. So then you have to look for different audio effects that you can put on it. And there's like hiss control, high capacity things, and I don't know, things that I don't really fully understand, but I know that there's like different, basically what I do is I just try them all until it works. And then I forget the next time and I have to do it all over again. So I'm going to start writing this down. But
There are a lot of different, I mean, Adobe, which program is it? Is it Audition within the, they killed
Audition,
it?
yeah, like if you have the Adobe Suite, which is like a student edition, get the student edition, don't get the full thing. The student edition is like $400 as opposed to the full thing, it's like 1,600 or something. Yeah,
2,600.
that's what I got. And I do the same thing that you guys do, so it's.
So, but within Audition, there are different filters, but honestly, the best thing to do is to get your audio right when you're in the field.
Yeah.
It'll save you a lot of heartache. And
You'll
if
hear
it's
a lot of
really,
people
really
say-
bad, if it's, can you reshoot the subject or is it over?
It was due today, so.
Oof.
Oh. Oh, well, that takes so many hours to do. I'm going to, yeah, well, I'd watch it. Okay. I mean, chalk it up to something you need to learn for next time. But
Yeah.
fixing audio like that can take hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Which is the other thing that Collin was basically explaining to you is it's try one thing for an hour and then it doesn't work and try another thing for an hour and then try the two things at once for 2 hours. It's rough.
Yeah.
So
If you have an option, look for what's called a gate, because gating your audio will definitely help that. Like it will, I forget what it does. Somehow it like centralizes the audio to be just the voice. I forget.
a gate, there's different kinds of EQs. Voice tends to be in the middle of your EQ spectrum. So if you eliminate the hiss is at the high end, like the 10,000 kilohertz end, and a lot of the rumble might be in the low, like 20 hertz kind of range. That's pretty much human hearing. So a gate will kind of limit stuff to the middle, closer to 200 to 400 kilohertz, which is where most of the human voice is. But it'll start to sound weird after a time.
It like cuts it off. So you can hear an echo in this room, and when you hear me talk, it'll cut out the echo completely. So all you hear is my voice, and then when I stop talking, it gets dead silent.
I'm going to get to these questions in 1 second. I want to say one last thing about audio. The best thing you guys can do, if you want to not end up in a situation where you have to fix it in post, is always have someone wearing headphones, even earbuds. Because if you just look at levels bouncing, I've been fooled by that. I've known a million people been fooled by like, oh, the levels are there, we're good. Someone has to wear headphones the whole time. So you'd had your hand up for a while.
I just kind of had an opinion question for you guys.
Please.
Which was a worse movie? Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus or Shark Tank?
You got to ask Collin.
I mean, Steve Urkel was in the one. So, I mean, that just upped it like
Which one? Which one was Urkel?
Mega Shark.
So it's
No,
better.
that was versus Crocosaurus. I don't know. There's a couple. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You guys have invested how many hours in these shark movies?
I think I do when I go home.
45 seconds of that movie.
All right.
Yeah, no.
I think I had one other hand up first.
What did you guys mean by gating?
That's like a post-production audio thing.
It's a filter.
Yeah, it's a filter you can throw on.
Oh.
So you can search within the effects, probably in Audition, for a gate.
I
Okay?
think Final Cut has it actually in the program, so you don't have to take it into another thing. So,
Whoops. Yes, sir.
When like you're filming, how do you make like colors more like stand out more? So like outside lighting, how do you make like your grass like really green or like the sky really blue? Is that post production?
contrast.
No, I would suggest there is stuff you can do in post. There's different schools of thought on doing things in post versus not. When you guys are learning, my suggestion is do everything you can in camera. The less you can do in post, the better.
Yeah.
Because if you get it how you want it to look when you're in the field, that's great. So ways to do that. If you're outside, it's a big sunny day, something called a polarizing filter. You guys may have seen them where it's like two things that spin. So that helps make sure that your light is very directional. So it eliminates other weird reflections, and that'll massively up your saturation. There's filters like haze filters or a 1A. If you guys own a real camera, like if you invest in a DSLR and you have a $300 lens, spend $30 and buy what's called a 1A, which is basically practically clear glass. It's an ultraviolet filter. Because if you're out running around and you're doing a fight scene and someone chucks something and it hits your lens, that $30 filter will protect the front element on your $300 lens. I don't care about throwing out $30 filters. I do care about having to send in $300 lenses. Plus, the 1A will help to increase your your saturation a little bit because it reduces the ultraviolet light. So it kind of does a double purpose. But so read about filtering, check your exposure, things of that nature. But I think a polarizer is a good place to start. Yeah.
Quick DSLR question.
Yeah.
For student filmmakers specifically, which do you think would be the best choice, a Nikon or Canon? And if you have any model in mind.
Canon T2i. That's the one I shoot with, and I've been using it for, I don't even know how long, basically since it came out. I haven't even, like, I've been thinking, oh, maybe I should go to the Mark II, the 5D Mark II, but I'm making money off of it, so what's the point? Like, I'm still getting high quality things, and I've seen some TV shows shoot with the T2i, I've seen them shoot with the T3.
I think the T3i is like, common, yeah.
Yeah, it's...
They're shooting movies on Canon Mark D, 5, Canon
Mark
5D Mark III.
SNL does their open with,
Yeah.
with the T2.
Yeah.
So
The whole opening montage.
I think that part of the reason to go Canon instead of Nikon has less to do with the quality, but more to do with the prevalence. So if you go to film school, all the kids in your dorm are going to have Canons, so you might as well match.
That's one of the things that I've learned too, is like most people who are doing like filming will get Canon because it's geared more towards video, whereas Nikon, it gets good video, but...
All right, I got to set you guys free. I'm sorry. I think we've got a line out the door. Yeah, we're around. Thanks, everybody. Hope that was fun.
Good job.